I feel like this AI witch hunt is going to lead to some unforeseen and unprecedented situations because what I see on Twitter is just a lot of people going around, armchair fucking analyzing every artist on Reddit and on Twitter and throwing around the AI accusation. And see, and what's going to happen is people are going to just move to AI just to spite these people because it is becoming, the next moral panic online. And just in principle, like I remember when a bunch of like actors were suing AI companies for uses of like their likeness and of their voice. And eventually the president of the United States is like, no, and it makes sense, right? Like AI is going to be the next infrastructure, and it makes no reason. It's no reason why you'd cripple your own infrastructure. Just why? Because a bunch of actors want to sue these companies for money, even if it is unfair. It's just sort of where we're at, and where we're at least in like art and entertainment is if you use AI in your games, like you guarantee like what 20% of the market just will just say it's slop and will not support it, even if you agree with that or not, regardless of which situation it is. And I'll get into the Claire Obscure situation in a little bit. It's just the market is against AI. They want to support actual artists, even though now it's kind of going off the fucking rails. And if you're an indie studio, an indie gaming company, just don't use it. It will always just bite you in the ass. And what we see now is that Claire Obscure had the Game of the Year award completely taken from it by the Indie Game Awards. And we went over the Indie Game Awards. We don't really need to, you know, branch over that. I mean, this game effectively swept most categories it was in, from what I heard. The company Sandbox Interactive or Sandfall Interactive, they used like AI back in like 2022 when it was something new. There was really no threat of it replacing anybody, and so they used it for like some very pre production things. It's like, okay, well, so let's see how this is. They used it and they were like, yeah, we don't really like what we see. So they completely just got rid of it and just went to the actual production. Like, I'm pretty sure that like there's no AI used in the final product. It was just something used as a concept in 2022. And they said this to defend another game on X that use AI for again the same reasons, for tiny insignificant things or just sort of as a curiosity. But that seems to not matter to the Indie Game Awards. Like, just any use of AI, even if there's not a single percentage of it in the final product, like, yeah, I guess is enough to just have it rescinded. And my whole thing is, if you just tell people to begin with, it's like, okay, I used it when it was just a single me and like three other dudes in our mom's basement, and we were trying to sort of figure out concepts and along with what do you do when you want to commission art from someone. Well, what you do is you compile a bunch of references, some of them from literally Googling going on Google and finding images on Google, and it's like, okay, I want something similar to this, but not the exact same. Like, they do that, and you just say that to begin with. I don't think people will flip out about it. But is it worth the risk? No. At the end of the day, if you use it, even if it's not a single piece of it in the final product, just don't say you used it at all. Like, don't say you dabbled in AI. Don't say you did anything with AI, because again, the market is now. If you used it for any reason, the consumer is just going to be against it. And for Claire Obscure, in their specific situation, I think it's fine. But if the market says no, well then, no. But, I want to get back to the whole witch hunt about AI, because how you counter AI is just giving the consumer a better product, right? Like, the consumer doesn't actually care. They just want a good product. And yeah, maybe now there'll be like artifacts in AI, like the use in like art and certain implementations, but give it a couple years, and it'll be able to iron those things out. Granted, I'd still, it was like, if you can hire some people, like, I guess the only reason I can also see it is time constraint. It's like it takes money and time to commission artists to do it, and you can use it as sort of like a proof of concept, and then if it gets popular, just hire artists after that. I mean, again, I see it being useful for just someone who has an idea and want to get it out there, but they don't really have the means or the money or the time to just hire people off of X or off of Reddit. I can see the positives. Like, right now, it's predominantly negative. Like, it's being used to shitify products, services, your games, right? YouTube is doing AI. So right now it's just being used predominantly. Like, the interaction I have with it is predominantly bad. Even though you can have like AI songs that are cool, but on like YouTube that no one else is really doing, or like, I don't know, AI fucking Rule 34 stuff, whatever. Again, and the fact that the Indie Game Awards just snatched it from them without really any other consideration, right? Like, the Game Awards, Video Game Awards, did not rescind their trophy, but the Indie Game Awards did. Oh, snatches back 2 trophies. I thought they won a lot more trophies. And also, again, my thing is, if you're a AAA company and you're using AI, the product should be cheaper. Like, why would I pay $70 fucking dollars, for a game that has implementations I can just do myself? Like, what the fuck sense does that make? Look, AAA companies are going to do it, and there's nothing like gaming companies, they're going to use it. There's not really anything you can do about it. You can cry, complain. At the end of the day, a lot of these companies already don't care for their consumers. All I ask is that it's put on the box. Like, if a game uses generative AI, even for 0.5% of the game, just put it on the box and let the consumer decide, or put it in the description and let the consumer decide. I haven't even read this article. You can read the article. Any game was stripped Two major awards, including Game of the Year and Debut Game, is the developer Sandfall Interactive using generative AI, as reported by Mashable. Again, but in what? Again, what process was it used? Because there's processes where I believe it's fine, and there's like personally I believe it's okay, even if I think the game should be cheaper, or even if I probably won't play it. This to be fairly cut and dry, or Samurai clearly state that in its FAQ that any game that uses generative AI in the development process would be strictly ineligible for nominations. Development process. Again, from what I heard, like not a single use of AI was used in like the actual game. It was used as like a proof of concept in early pre-production, like before they even had the concept, right? Before they even had really anything in stone, set in stone, they used it just to figure it out. But then they completely shoved it off as like, okay, this is not what we want. Let's just make it all from scratch. Sandfall indeed used generative AI while making Claire obscure. I've been wrong, but appears as though Claire Obscure Expedition 33 used AI for these textures. I mean, okay, I don't know if they used it for these specific textures. Company says it was only for placeholder textures that were later removed, but a few squeezed past the QA process and made its way into the final game. As such, the internet. The Indie Game Awards are clearly about disallowing any use of generative AI, and so here we are. Again, I don't know. Like again, I can believe if it's just over like textures left behind. I mean, they made a very like intricate game, very highly what's the word I'm looking for? Artistically, I guess convoluted game. But I personally don't see this as a problem. But the consumer does. And I mean, it's odd that the Indie Game Awards would stamp down immediately. And a lot of Sandfall Interactive confirming that use of Gen AI art in production on the day of the Indie Game Awards 2025 premiere. This does disqualify Claire Obscure Expedition 33 from its nominations. The organization wrote, while the assets in question are patched out, and it is a wonderful game, it does go against the regulations we have in place. And if I'm not mistaken, the award was given to like Blueprints. Yeah, Blueprints. So, I guess these are two. Again, I think the witch hunt going on the internet towards legitimate artists is kind of idiotic. Like how many and what situations have that people just completely went complete fucking off the rails has ever worked out at the end, and not just had a bunch of people just vote against them after it all. Like not I don't think there's a single situation where that has happened. So I guess my entire point of this is to just calm the fuck down with the whole AI witch hunt and quit going after legitimate artists. Like I was gonna make this into a fucking video on Reddit. I probably will. I think Moist Critical said this better, but I think Reddit just hates artists. Like the Redditor hates people that actually add value, add a product, do a service, because the Redditor thinks that they're the best and they know better. And because of that, you have like Reddit moderators just going completely off the fucking wall. But that's a video for another day. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. Just chill the fuck out, y'all. Anyway, peace.